Tonight at 6, students on campus danced all day long to raise money for Children's Miracle Network. We have the recap of this year's Flash-a-thon.
Multiple state and local officials responded to a train derailment in Springfield Township in Clark County, Ohio on Saturday, March 4th.
Another Norfolk Southern train derailment in Ohio just a little more than a month after the derailment in East Palestine. More on the latest incident ahead.
St. Patrick's Day parade organizers in New York banned LGBTQ+ groups from their annual celebration. How those in the community are reacting.
Have a dog with an ugly mug? But you might have a chance to win this contest. All these stories and more as TV2 News starts right now.
This is TV2 News.
Good Monday evening, Portage County, and thank you so much for joining us. I'm Alexandria Manthey.
And I'm Natalie DeSantis. Tonight we start with students raising money for Akron Children's Hospital.
That's right. Our reporter Sydney Brown has more on the Center for Student Involvement's annual Flash-a-thon. Hi, Sydney.
Hi guys, Kent State's Flash-a-thon group hosted a dance marathon for 6 hours on Saturday. Students from Kent rallied to support kids at the Akron Children's Hospital. I got to see the excitement firsthand. Take a look. For over 6 hours, KSU Flash-a-thon hosted non-stop dancing for the Children's Miracle Network with a local cause for the Akron Children's Hospital.
My mom actually works at Akron Children's Hospital as an ER receptionist. Just realized that this would be a really great way for me to get involved and help them out in, a small way, but make a big impact.
I want to work in pediatrics. I want to do pediatric oncology, which is the unit that this is for Akron Children's.
My biggest reason for dancing is for the kids who can't dance, so we're here to make a difference for them.
It wasn't just dancers who came to this student-run event.
My thing is, without Children's, he wouldn't be here, and, we have said thank you to them, but it never feels like it's enough, so, our why is to another way to say thank you to them for allowing him to be here still, so.
And Kent State is just one of 400 plus campuses to participate in Miracle Network dance marathons. And since 1991, they have raised over $350 million for kids.
A lot of the hospital workers talk about Flash-a-thon and everything that goes on with us, and they try to keep tabs on us to see how much we've been raising. So I know they're really looking forward to finding out how much we end up raising overall today.
All of these efforts worked towards funding the Shower Family Center for Childhood Cancers and Blood Disorders.
Raised over $17,000 for the kids. That's over $7,000 from what we raised last year. Technically last year we raised about $10,000, $11,000, so super excited. So a lot of people, a lot of bodies working together to make this happen. Throughout the day, I believe we raised $4,000 just today.
These fundraising efforts make a difference in the lives of children across the nation.
More birthdays, more smiles, and to change kids' health and change.
If you're looking to get more involved with the Children's Miracle Network or KSU Flash-a-thon, you can follow them on social media at CMN Hospitals or KSU Flash-a-thon. Reporting for TV2 News, I'm Sydney Brown.
Thanks, Sydney. International Women's Day is on Wednesday, and the Women's Center here on campus is celebrating women across the globe. They will hold an International Women's Day celebration in the Center for Undergraduate Excellence from 3 to 5:30 p.m. They posted that the event will, quote, explore International Women's Day across the world through a student-created gallery showcase featuring different countries and organizations. Well, if you don't have tissues on hand already, you might need to grab some because seasonal allergies could come early this year. Experts say spring allergy season could arrive early in Northeast Ohio because of the mild winter.
Northeast Ohio is seeing temps ranging from frigid conditions and snowstorms to record-breaking warm temps. Here to tell us a little bit more of what temperatures we're going to see today is our own Noah Rowe. Hi, Noah.
Hi guys, you really hit the nail on the head with the extremely varied temps that we've been experiencing the last couple of weeks. I do have some positive news on that front. This week things are going to be a lot more consistent. Let's start off with what the weather's looking like right now. We're at 49 degrees currently here in Kent, but it feels a bit more closer to 45. Dew point's at 29 degrees today, and it's a bit windy with the winds going at 8 miles per hour. Humidity is only at 41% and visibility going out to 10 miles per hour. Moving on to what the temperatures will be looking like overnight, around 8 p.m. it's going to start raining. Temperatures are going to drop down a bit more to 43 degrees, and we should expect about 1.5 inches to maybe 2 inches of rain. By midnight, however, rain's going to clear up and temperatures are going to once more fall down to 40 degrees. Finally, tomorrow morning, it's going to be partly cloudy and 32 degrees. It's going to be cloudy in the morning, but look forward to some sun later on in the afternoon. Sunrise will also be at 6:50 in the morning. It's going to be a windy one out there with wind from the north at 15 miles per hour. Sunset will be 6:23. That's all the time we have for weather at the moment, but don't go anywhere. Later in the show, I'll have temperatures from around the state as well as your 7-day forecast.
Thanks, Noah. Summit County officials are currently searching for Doug Mayer, a 70-year-old man who went missing after kayaking near Oxbow at Cascade Valley Metro Park on Sunday. Authorities received calls regarding his disappearance after he, quote, did not arrive to meet his family at a pre-planned location in Brecksville. Akron Police and additional recovery teams from Macedonia are assisting Summit County Metro Parks in the ongoing search for Mayer.
And an Akron woman was struck and killed on I-76 yesterday morning, according to the Akron Police Department. 58-year-old Kara-C Lee was trying to move a wooden table that was blocking the roadway when she was hit. A blue Honda Civic heading southbound, driven by a 23-year-old man, struck Lee, who was found dead at the scene. The driver sustained minor injuries. The incident is still under investigation. 2 Norfolk Southern trains have derailed in Ohio in the last 5 weeks, one in East Palestine and the latest here in Springfield, Ohio.
That's right, our correspondent Skylar Edington has the latest.
Hi guys, yes, Ohio has once again experienced another train derailing.
Approximately 20 of the 212 cars derailed, with 4 tankers identified with non-hazardous materials. 2 tankers contained residual amounts of diesel exhaust fluid, and the other 2 tankers contained residual amounts of polyacrylamide water solution.
A second Norfolk Southern train derailed in Springfield early Saturday evening after the recent train derailment in East Palestine. According to Norfolk Southern, 28 cars of a 212-car train went off the tracks. 2 of the cars carried residual amounts of diesel exhaust fluid and 2 others carried polyacrylamide water solution. The Clark County Emergency Management Agency says there's no evidence of any spillage at the site. The derailment happened just 1,000 feet from homes and knocked out power to some residents. The derailment prompted an order for residents to remain sheltered in their homes unless it was essential to leave. Once officials conducted their investigation, they assured the community and Clark County that the air, water, and soil are safe. Officials from the Federal Railroad Association announced they will be heading to Clark County to conduct investigations as well. Norfolk Southern announced a 6-point plan to immediately enhance the safety of its operations. After having 2 trains derail in the last month, their plan includes enhancing the hot bearing detector network, pilot next-generation hot bearing detectors, deploy more acoustic bearing detectors, accelerate the digital train inspection program, and support a strong safety culture. More concerns are rising after heavy rain began overflowing from a containment dam near East Palestine City Park. Vacuum trucks were used to extract the water released to help gain control of the runoff from the derailment area. Mary McCarran, a public information officer for the Ohio Environmental Protection Agency, mentioned that there is no visible waste that was released from the storm. Find out more updates on this story and others at KentWire.com. Reporting for TV2, I'm Skylar Edington. Back to you guys at the desk.
Without that right, nothing is possible. And this fundamental right remains under assault. The conservative Supreme Court has gutted the Voting Rights Act over the years.
President Biden was in Selma, Alabama today to celebrate major events in the civil rights movement. More on his visit and the celebration ahead.
10 people are dead after a landslide in Riau Islands. The high-intensity weather conditions and search and rescue efforts.
Tomorrow's news leaders.
Today's top stories.
From an award-winning student newsroom.
This is TV2 News, truly Portage County.
Selma is a reckoning. The right to vote, to have your vote counted, is the threshold of democracy and liberty. With it, anything's possible.
President Biden is in Selma, Alabama to mark Bloody Sunday, the landmark march that helped galvanize the civil rights movement. 58 years ago, white state troopers beat hundreds of civil rights marchers as they attempted to cross the Edmund Pettus Bridge.
The protesters were heading to the state capitol in Montgomery to demand an expansion of voting rights. The president says voting rights are still threatened today and urged Congress to pass the John Lewis Voting Rights Act and the Freedom to Vote Act.
I want you to know how much I appreciate your taking the time to join with us this morning to be a part of this community celebration. This is in many ways as much a celebration of us as it is of me.
A street in Miami-Dade County has been named after Supreme Court Associate Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson. Tonight she was honored with a street naming ceremony. Jackson is the first black woman to sit on the Supreme Court and is the first Supreme Court justice from Miami-Dade County. Justice Jackson called the sign a special honor and hopes people driving by will have a, quote, moment of reflection.
Former Donald Trump advisor Paul Manafort has agreed to pay the government $3 million for failing to disclose foreign bank accounts. While working as a consultant in Ukraine a decade ago, Manafort put tens of thousands of dollars in nearly 24 bank accounts. But Manafort never reported those to the IRS. He pled guilty of financial and tax crimes, but Trump pardoned him in late 2020. Last year, the Justice Department sued to collect the outstanding civil penalties with interest.
The annual St. Patrick's Day Parade took place Sunday in Staten Island, New York. And like in years past, parade organizers banned LGBTQ+ groups from taking part. The executive director of the Pride Center in Staten Island called the ban discriminatory and vile. Pride members held their own parade instead, and some city leaders joined in, including New York City Mayor Eric Adams. Catholic leaders weighed in on the controversy, saying the parade celebrates St. Patrick and not sexual orientation.
A deadly stampede left 1 dead and 8 others injured at Glorilla concert in Rochester, New York yesterday. Police arrived on the scene after receiving reports of gunfire, but they found no evidence of gunshots. Police say a large crowd pushed towards the exit of the venue after hearing what they thought were gunshots. A 33-year-old woman died in the stampede, and 2 of the 8 others injured were left in critical condition. Rappers Glorilla and Finesse 2 Times were performing at the concert. Glorilla retweeted after the event saying that he hopes everyone is okay.
Many Twitter users were left frustrated after a service disruption occurred earlier today. More than 8,000 failures were reported by Down Detector, an outage tracker site. Users received several error messages when attempting to open images and links. Many couldn't open the site at all. This is the second major glitch to occur this week and is thought to be a result of the large number of people who were fired from Twitter, as most of them were engineers responsible for site reliability.
The Cape Cod Canal in Massachusetts was closed to boat traffic Sunday afternoon due to a rare sight of endangered whales. The Army Corps of Engineers closed the canal to all vessel traffic on Sunday afternoon after 3 right whales were spotted in the water. The canal was reopened Monday after the whales moved on. According to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, the North Atlantic right whale is one of the world's most endangered large whale species.
Hi, good evening, Portage County, and welcome back to the second half of tonight's weather forecast. I want to start things off with temperatures from around the state. Up by the lake, we have temperatures in the 30s and low 40s in Sandusky, 39, 37 in Ashtabula, and Cleveland at 41. Over in Mansfield, we have 48 degrees, and Worcester at 47. And closer to here in Kent, we have ourselves at 43 degrees, 44 in Youngstown, as well as 48 in Canton. Now, moving on to the state as a whole, Akron at 46, Lima at 45. It starts to get a lot warmer in the southern section of the states. We're seeing 64 in Kentucky, 62 in Dayton, and 60 in Athens, as well as Columbus, respectively. Finally, Steubenville is at 54 degrees. And finally, your 7-day forecast, what everyone's been waiting for. Tomorrow, we're going to be at a 38 degrees, feeling like 26. Also, Wednesday, 40s, Thursday, 40s, and Friday, as well as Saturday, we're going to see some icy rain mix, as well as a bit of snow for your Fake Patty's Day weekend. Sunday, we're also going to lose a bit of that snow. It's going to warm up to 40 degrees. And finally, on Monday, we're going to be at 41 degrees. Bit of snow in the morning, but it should turn to rain by the end of the night. That is all the time I have for weather to share with you tonight. Stay warm, Portage County, and keep those spirits high. Spring is right around the corner. We'll be seeing warmer temperatures soon. Alex, Natalie, back to you.
Mexico's president says 4 Americans were assaulted and kidnapped by gunmen in northeastern Mexico on Friday. During a briefing today, President Lopez Obrador says that the men were targeted by mistake and his government is working to find them.
The FBI said it is cooperating with other federal partners and Mexican law enforcement agencies to investigate the kidnapping. They are also looking to the public for help in finding the Americans and identifying those responsible.
9 years after the disappearance of Malaysia Airlines flight MH370, families of the passengers on board urged the Malaysian government to mount a new search for the aircraft.
Though many failed searches for MH370 has been frustrating for rescue officials and families alike, Malaysia's Transport Ministry has vowed to not close the book on the investigation, and that consideration would be given to future searches if there was, quote, new and credible information on the plane's possible location.
10 people are dead after a landslide in Riau Islands caused by heavy rainfall. The BNPB reported on Monday that the landslide was triggered by high-intensity rainfall coupled with unstable soil conditions. The BNPD also added that the weather conditions, difficulty of access, and the interrupted telecommunication network also slowed down the search and rescue process.
A massive fire that ripped through a Rohingya refugee camp in Bangladesh Sunday has left thousands of people homeless. The flames engulfed and gutted more than 2,000 huts before officials were able to get it under control. Officials have stated that they will not allow anyone to, quote, sleep under the open sky, ensuring a temporary shelter for anyone who has been affected. No casualties have been reported thus far, and the source of the fire is still under investigation.
Now to updates in Ukraine. What had felt for several days like a Russian advance onto the center of Bakhmut appears to have slowed. That's according to the Ukrainian military commanders, who claim that they are still holding one of the main highways in and out of the city. This allows them to protect those supply lines to the Ukrainian defenders, still doing all they can to hold down the town that has been at the center of the siege now for 7 months.
World War II veteran Harold Batt is celebrating his 100th birthday today. More on his life and career later on.
Coming up on your TV2 Sports Report, we'll take a gander at what happened in Kent State athletics over the weekend, including a wild finish under the Friday night lights.
And now, your TV2 Sports Report.
Former Cleveland Guardians pitcher Mike Clevenger will not be facing disciplinary action from the MLB after the organization's domestic abuse investigation.
Clevenger was accused of domestic abuse by his former partner, Olivia Feinstead, who stated that he strangled her and spat tobacco on their baby, among other things. Now for some more local sports news, we have our sports anchor Dom with all of the latest in Kent. Hi, Dom.
Thanks, Alex. Thanks, Natalie. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to your TV2 Sports Report. This past weekend is one to remember in Portage County, so let's get straight into it. The Golden Flashes baseball team pulled off a weekend sweep of the UT Martin Skyhawks in Martin, Tennessee. A postponement due to weather caused a doubleheader on Saturday, but that didn't stop the Golden Flashes. Brent Cruikshank had a stellar day pitching in Game 1, only allowing 2 hits through the 6th inning, leading up to a 6-0 shutout and then a 12-3 victory later in the day. They ended their weekend with a 9-6 victory and host Youngstown State for their home opener tomorrow at 1 p.m. We move on to one of the best rivalries in college basketball on senior night for Myron Thomas, Sincere Carey, and Malik Jacobs. Kent State versus Akron, Part 2. Sincere Carey around the right wing for a mid-range jumper. He had 35 points with 43 minutes played. Absolutely unstoppable. But guess who else was unstoppable? Chris Payton Jr. Faking and driving up the center off the glass. He's good from there. Chris Payton Jr. was 9 for 10 on the night with 22 points off the bench, including an emphatic dunk by Payton. He had a few crazy dunks in the game. and he was just doing an absolutely phenomenal job. A wide open pass over to Jacobs for 3. Bang! He celebrates with his teammates. He goes over, but then it goes to overtime. And then Peyton, who else, rebounds it, gets the bucket. He's able to lead the Golden Flashes up to a victory against Akron, one of their main rivals, and they will move on into the MAC tournament as the 2nd seed. With the conclusion of this weekend, the stage is set for the 2023 MAC tournament. All rounds of this tournament will be played at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse in Cleveland. The women's tournament will be played from March 8th to the 11th, while the men's will be held from the 9th to the 11th. The women's and men's teams will both play NIU on Wednesday and Thursday, respectively. All quarterfinal games will be aired on ESPN+. More information can be found on KentStateSports.com. And that's all I have for you tonight. Make sure you tune in later tonight for a new episode of Sports Corner, and make sure to follow us all on social media at TV2 KSU Sports. I'm Dom O'Brien, and have a great night, Portage County.
Finally, a prize for your not-so-perfect pooch. The world's ugliest dog contest is back this year, and we have how you can enter your pup.
I'm 100 years old today, and I feel great.
He's a doctor and a World War II Navy vet. And Harold Bat now has another thing to celebrate, turning 100 years old.
Dr. Bat was a practicing radiologist until just a few years ago, and clearly he isn't slowing down anytime soon. Bat was joined by 13 others also celebrating their 100th birthdays.
And does your dog have a face only an owner could love? If you answer yes, then you're in luck because the world's ugliest dog contest is taking submissions. The competition's website says that their goal is not to make fun of ugly dogs, but rather to celebrate the imperfections that make them special. This year's winner will be crowned on June 23rd at the Sonoma Marin Fair in Petaluma, California. Not only will they walk away with a trophy declaring them as the world's ugliest dog, they also will get $1,500. That's a lot of money. Yeah.
Truly, truly.
Yeah, do you have any dogs?
I do. I actually have 2, and I must say that they would not win because they are very cute.
Yeah.
I won't lie. I won't lie. They are.
Yeah.
But I did have a pug, and as you know, they're pretty famously ugly. So what about you? Do you have any? What about you?
I would say my dogs are pretty cute. Maybe I'm partial though. I don't know.
Yeah, it's always biased.
Yeah,
you know?
I'm a little biased.
Exactly. And didn't you say that it's raising awareness for adoption?
Yes, raising awareness for adoption
so
and
wonderful.
Getting dogs from shelters. So that's
so
always a good
important
thing.
to raise awareness for that. Absolutely.
Yes, I have one dog right now that we rescued from another family.
That's
and
wonderful. Yeah,
it's been tough, but
that's great.
He's a good boy.
Such a good cause. Such a good cause.
All right, well that is all the time we have for you today. Thank you so much for joining us.
For updates on all these stories and more, you can visit KentWired.com and follow us on all social media platforms at KentWired. I'm Natalie DeSantis.
And I'm Alexandria Manthey. Have a great night, Portage County.